I'm back at it again, messing with the 6R80 today. When we pulled the converter off, the fluid looked like shit. So I don't have a transmission stand over here. So I'm gonna support the back of the transmission with a ladder so I can have it hanging when I drop the pan off of it. Try not to make a big mess and just lay it on its side. We'll get the transmission pan off and then put a new filter on it, see what it looks like. All right, I got it all moved into position. I do have a pan I'm gonna stick back here. That'll help catch all the fluid. It looks like 8mm bolts all the way around. So let me get my drip pan ready and start busting these bolts loose. Yeah. It's hard to say how long this transmission is going to last. So what I did is I just left 2 bolts on the very front, loosened them up so the pan would drip or hang down. That way I can get most of the fluid out of the pan without making too big of a mess. So far, nothing's on the floor. I'm sure there's easier ways to do this. A couple of sawhorses might have been better. Or if I built something that bolted to the bell housing where I could just do this with the transmission being vertical, but this is some shade tree shit for sure. All right, one thing, it looks like it's missing the magnet. But it doesn't look too bad. Like there's not a lot of wear in it or metal. There's a few little flakes down here. But I'm gonna clean this all up and get the new filter put back in it and reseal the pan. And the converter's already been drained. I'll put a quart of fluid in it and this will be ready to go back on the back side of the motor. So this kit came with just a cheap ass rubber gasket, not an embossed metal one. We'll see how it works out. If it leaks, it leaks. There's the new filter. But I got the pan all cleaned out. Everything looks good. All right, since I got all the fluid basically out of this thing, I flipped it upside down, put a little bit of new fluid on the O-ring, and it pops into that hole right there. You can see it's seated down in there now. There's no bolts that hold this on, by the way. The pan's gonna hold it on. So I'm gonna slap this cheap ass gasket on here. I needed to set my phone down, but I got the gasket lined up. I'm putting in the bolts now. Then I'm gonna torque everything down. I just finished up torquing the pan. It torques to 9 foot-pounds. I just did a crisscross pattern on it. We'll see if it works once we get it in the car. I'm gonna add a quart of fluid to the torque converter sitting here, and then install it back into the transmission. Got a couple more things to do before we go to stab the motor in the car. But honestly, this Team Z front end is gonna make it easy. We'll remove this bar here and this bar here, and it'll just slide right in. Before, I've used an engine hoist and a strap and wrapped it around the factory front bumper and lifted the car up, and then used these kind of little dollies here to push the motor back. But I think we'll be able to get away with maybe just using one dolly. I'll have it on video on how we do it though. Currently we are waiting on the welder. Going to fill in all those holes that are marked on the firewall. And then we got to move some stuff. That fuel pressure regulator is going to have to move. The little vacuum block is going to move. Probably won't even need that with this setup here. I'm going to stab the converter now. I did drain it. We didn't have it cut open. It's a cheap converter. It's just some like aftermarket stock replacement that came with the transmission. You saw the condition of the fluid and everything. It's pretty dark. I don't know if this transmission is going to last 10 miles or 200 miles or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to stab the converter. I did pour a quart of fluid in it so it's not dry. And I'll show you how to do that. I can feel it engaging the pump. That's it, it's in.